Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Mega Voice Live podcast. We're here, Dr. Phil 2, your host, and I am here to meet with a legendary, phenomenal musician, pianist. Just so excited that he joined us on this program. I want you, everybody, to please welcome Nerva Altino.
What's
Brother,
up,
so good
bro?
to have you, man.
Thanks, bro. Happy to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. You have a powerful testimony, but before that, we just want to just celebrate you as a musician, as a pianist, as an artist, for many things that you have accomplished in the music industry so far, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. However, you are a COVID survivor. You have
Yeah.
overcome your trial and your tribulation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes, sir.
we're here to talk about that. Tell us what happened when you first found out and what you went through going through that
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. Being a musician, as a pastor, we are around a lot of people, particularly on weekends. So I had a few meetings with, staff from churches and so forth, had rehearsals. So I'm not sure where I contracted the virus, but one weekend I was feeling like I was, coming down with the flu. And then I decided that I'm just gonna relax and rest, stay in bed. And my wife was giving me soup and hot liquids and so forth, but I was not getting better. So after about a week, when one would expect that the flu would have gone away by then, at least begin to go away, I was getting worse. So, and after a little while, I began to lose my sense of taste and smell.
Mm.
So, my wife said to me, "You might have COVID." I was in denial. I didn't want to face that because it was still somewhat new to me. Yeah, I didn't know much about it, but I knew it was a deadly disease or virus.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
but I mean, I was a wreck. So I text my cousin in Atlanta, who's a doctor, and I told him about how I was feeling. He said to me, "You need to get to the emergency right away because it sounds
Wow.
like you've been infected with COVID."
Mm.
So my wife, came home early that day, took me to the urgent care,
Yeah.
and after waiting for about 4 hours, the doctor finally saw me, ran a series of tests, and he told me
Mm.
that he needs to call an ambulance to rush me to the hospital immediately because I had double pneumonia, a very high fever, and I was on the verge of going into a medically induced coma.
Wow.
So, needless to say, I mean, you don't want to hear news like that. The ambulance came. They took me to North Shore Long Island Hospital, and they ran a series of tests again. And I was tested for COVID. They kept me, and they told me that all the symptoms that showed was COVID-19. Anyway, they kept me there for the entire day. Later on, very late that evening, they released me.
Mm-hmm.
I went home, tried to go up the steps. I collapsed on the steps.
Whoa.
My wife was able to somehow get me up, got me upstairs to our bedroom, and then I laid in bed. The day after that, I felt so badly, man. I just saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and which means for me, in that case, I saw no way of surviving this thing. I made my peace with God, and I began to prepare myself to die. So I told my wife, I started playing my own memorial service. When my wife
Mm.
came upstairs to see me to give me some medication, I told her, "Look, this is what I want you to do for my memorial service as a musician. I want this, this, and that." And I literally, I had made my peace with God, man, and I was done. She said, "No, I'm not doing that. God is not through with you yet.
Mm.
Okay, God is not through with you yet. You got to fight this thing, and you're gonna win. You got to fight."
Yeah.
So, and she said she refused to believe that this would be the last chapter of my life, although I had given up. But anyway, the following day, I felt even worse. So she took me back to the emergency room, and I was admitted. The first time I went there, they didn't keep me overnight because they didn't have beds available. This time, the second time they did, and they took me in, put me on the bed, and took me to a room. They gave me oxygen because at that point I couldn't breathe, I couldn't walk, I couldn't hold anything up. If I drank or ate anything, that was it. But anyway, later on that day, the doctor came to me and said he was going to release me again. I said, Doc, I'm not feeling well and I can't really breathe. So why would you release me? He told me that I only need the oxygen to breathe if I'm walking, but if I lay down and kept still, I'd be okay, and which was true. But anyway, um, I said, but I'm not ready to go home. He said, if I keep you here, we're going to need to put you on a ventilator. And he told me this in confidence. And he said, if you go on a ventilator, the results may be catastrophic.
Wow.
So he felt that I had a better chance of recovering at home. So he released me later on that evening. So I went home. They prescribed some antibiotics and other medication for me. I took those for about a week or so. It helped. But after I finished those medication, I took natural remedies. You know, being from the Caribbean, I'm Haitian, and I'm raised around a lot of West Indians,
Of
Jamaicans, so
course.
forth. So you know when they have that natural remedy, man, it
That's
just
right.
the hospital stuff doesn't have anything on those. So
That's
and
right.
that's what we went with. So I took the natural medication,
Yeah.
and over time, as the weeks and days and weeks progressed, I began to improve slowly but surely. But in the midst of all of that, in addition to suffering physically, my father died about 2 days after I was released from the hospital the second time.
Mm,
He'd been battling COVID. I didn't know. I thought he had the flu.
mm,
But when he died, actually 2 days prior, after I came home from the hospital, he was unresponsive. My brother went down to his apartment, and they had to call an ambulance to come to get him.
mm,
And after they came to get him, he died a couple of days after that at the hospital from COVID.
mm.
So it's been a trial, man, and physically suffering and then losing my father. It's not been easy, but God is able, and I won't complain about it, because death is a part of life. And my father had 82 years on this earth, and the things that he's done for me and my brother and our family, the legacy that he's left behind. One can't, we can't help ourselves but to be grateful for his life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we just want to celebrate your dad right now. And uh, you know, it's not easy, especially, you don't get a chance to say goodbye or
Right, right.
um, see him go. Right now, my dad is in 4th-stage cancer. So
What?
yeah, yeah. So I'm dealing with that right now. And
God,
so
sorry,
I
bro.
understand
Sorry.
that pain, bro. You know,
So sorry.
yeah, bro.
Your
So
dad's a good man. I love that,
yeah.
man. Good man.
Yeah, I mean, we deal with this, and God has given us the ability to have hope in
Yeah,
the
that's
second
right.
coming. I mean, I think that's the only thing that gets us through is that we're gonna make it through one day.
No
And
doubt.
so, my condolences to you, bro. I mean,
Thank you.
it must have been catastrophic hearing it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right away, not knowing that he had it while you're also dealing with it and
Right,
facing death.
right.
You're planning
Exactly.
your funeral, but now you end up
Right.
planning another one.
Exactly. Exactly.
Man,
That. Mhm.
how have you been able to cope with that?
Prayer and just acceptance, and that hope that we have. We know that one day we'll see him again in the kingdom. And accepting the fact that he lived a good life. My father was,
Right.
I mean, a good man, a really good man, and I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to make it to the kingdom. So that gives me peace and solace in knowing this. You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in this time of reflection, you've gone through this time. What do you want to tell others who are going through the same bout with COVID or have come out of it? What do you want to tell people?
keep the faith, keep the faith and protect yourselves at all times, because we especially if you're a public servant, you're around a lot of people, and you have to practice social distancing now. Even though if you already contracted the virus, you still want to protect yourselves. Don't rush the process of recovery, because a lot of people have relapsed and trying to do things too soon. Take your time. I was diagnosed with this thing in March, mid-March, and I'm still not 100%, to be honest with you. There are times where I have these coughing spells, so I'm back to practicing and working on things again, but I'm not doing anything strenuous where it would put my health at risk. So take your time to heal, and also just make sure you rely on prayer and the support system that we're so blessed with to have from our families.
Yeah, yeah, and you're gonna have to share that natural remedy that
Yeah.
helped get you through it.
All right. I have my
Yeah.
wife has the recipe. I don't even know, what exactly was in it, but I know there was lemon, lime, honey, ginger. I mean, a whole lot of stuff. She has that recipe, so I'll ask her to share it with you for
Somebody
those.
shared with me that, because you don't really have any taste,
Mhm.
were you able to taste all of those elements or
Well, the good thing is, no, I wasn't able to taste it at first. That actually helped me recover my sense of taste and smell. Believe it or not, I couldn't taste or smell anything for over a month.
wow.
So yeah, and that's why I couldn't eat. I drank hot liquids, soup, and things like that. I only drink like the broth from the soup. I couldn't taste or smell anything, so it was an ordeal, man.
Wow, man, I tell you, man, I'm so glad you made it through. Shout out to Arcade 3. He want to give you some love over there.
Okay,
First,
oh bro.
yeah, we met you. First time we met you was at Atlantic Union College, man, and
That's
you
yeah,
know,
first time we officially met. But I remember you at Lebanon. Remember I was in the children's choir at Linden. You probably
that's right.
you were a little bit younger than I was, but yeah, I remember those days. Lebanon used to come to Linden back in the early '80s. I remember them days. So I remember
That
you
was
when you came to AUC. I remember the face.
yeah, yeah. Those days were the original verses. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like you have all these battles. It was Lebanon,
yeah.
Linden. You're like,
Lebanon
oh,
and
we got to
Linden.
come over
You could
across
taste
the
it.
street
Yeah,
now.
yeah, bro.
Yeah, Linden was great, man. I actually went to Linden school at one point,
Uh-huh.
and so yeah, those were some great days, man. Some great choir days. I just wish my
Yes,
kids
indeed.
could have as much choir days as I had back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the unfortunate things that we don't have for this generation. Certain things and certain values that we were brought up with. Things have changed. I don't want to say unfortunate. Let me take that back. I don't want to say it's just changed. It's different for them. So the things that we think that were good for us, they were good for us.
Yeah.
But this generation have moved on. So I think they're gonna be all right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, ministry comes in different ways, different
That's
phases.
right. That's right.
But one of the things I noticed at AUC, and my brother Hans was able to explain to me the process of Dr. Robertson,
Uh-huh.
and RIP to him. I mean, he
Yeah.
gave you some great years.
Yeah.
But one of the things they said, you had to spend about 8 hours of practicing in that room at their
Yeah.
conservatory.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it, when I studied with Dr. Robertson, normally when you go to college to study music as an instrumentalist, let's so as a pianist, you're supposed to receive a 1 hour piano lesson every week, and then the rest of the times you're studying your class for your classes and so forth, and you go back and get another lesson. I mean, on a weekly basis. With Dr. Robertson, I used to get 2 lessons per day,
Wow.
5 days a week, including weekends, except Fridays. We didn't do Fridays, but Fridays sometimes I'd have to do early in the morning because remember back in the day, school shut down by 12 noon.
That's right.
So I'd have a lesson earlier on Friday morning, but I'd get lessons from Monday through Friday. And if I had a concert coming up, he would have me go to theater on a Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, man, to work.
Wow.
And I didn't know what this guy was trying to accomplish. I hated every minute of those lessons. And in addition to that, I had to do 18, 19 credits and
Wow.
practice anywhere from 6 to 9 hours a day, depending on how much my workload was on that particular day. Um, so it was not an easy life. But I mean, it got to a point where Dr. Robertson and I stopped speaking. But in my senior year, I studied with Roy Imperial because
Okay.
Dr. Robertson and I were not speaking.
Right.
Because I mean, he was so demanding, and I was a workaholic. I worked as hard as I could, but he and I just would get into constant conflict and arguments because he was so demanding, and he was having me. One of the things that really got me angry with him was the fact that he was having me tour and do all these performances. So the constant pressure was too much for me at that time.
Mm.
But little did I know, he was preparing me for the future. So when I got to grad school at the Manhattan School of Music, where the competition was on another level, you dealing with all these child prodigies. It turns out that they had this thing from the time they were 5 years old.
Wow.
So I was playing catch up in college. Anyway, realizing what it took to get to that level. After I graduated from Manhattan School of Music, man, I called Keshner up and thanked him for everything that he had done. He was shocked.
Wow.
And then we rebuilt a student teacher relationship. And I was living in New York. He was living in Massachusetts. And I would commute. Now, mind you, I have a master's degree in music. I would commute to Massachusetts every 2 weeks to study with him.
Wow.
After that, yeah, I was so grateful to him, man. And the year before he died, he and I had the opportunity to do a concert with him in Jamaica. I mean, one of the most memorable events I've ever done, because he was my teacher, and just to be there and perform with him. When he died, a year later, I was just thankful for that experience, because of what he meant to me. I wouldn't be here right now doing music to the point where I'm doing it now if it were not for him. So I'm forever grateful for that, man.
Did he ever explain to you why he's doing what he's doing at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He told me that he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself.
Wow.
I didn't understand it, but it was just too much. It's not easy to study with a man like that because he's so demanding.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I was not able to handle it at that time, although I did well, but it was a lot of pressure. But by the time I finished grad school, I went back for more. Go figure, But I'm thankful for it. But at that time, I was ready, and I understood what he was trying to do, and I wanted more of that. So it's what I needed. If I hadn't done that,
yeah. No, if you hadn't done that, go ahead.
If I hadn't done that, if I hadn't studied with him, I wouldn't be the same musician today.
That's powerful. And now, how do you translate that to your students?
I'm not as hard and demanding on my students. I'm demanding to the.
I'm gonna have to call Russell and find out. Let's see if Russell, because Russell, I can go to CWC any day and find him rolling in there, getting ready to practice on the organ. So I think you put some stuff in him.
Yeah, I'm demanding on Russ, but he's able to handle it a lot better than I was when I was his age, So he works hard. I mean, he puts in the time to work, so that's why he's doing so well right now. I'm really proud of him.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm very proud of him too. And so you say you're not as hard, but you instilled a lot of those principles into your students.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about your first concert. Like the first time you finished grad school, you've done all of these rehearsals. Now comes the time. How did you even get set up for your first major concert?
First major concert happened at Alice Tully Hall at Lincoln Center. Find out that a friend of mine had his own orchestra called the Ensemble du Monde. And so we called Lincoln Center up and told them about the idea we had, and we partnered with them and brought that concert to Lincoln Center. I mean, it was just an amazing experience because a number of things. Number one, to play at Lincoln Center, it attracted a wide variety of media attention. NBC picked up the story. We were in every newspaper in New York City. But the reason why that concert was so meaningful to me was the last time my mother saw me perform. And
Mm.
so that concert will forever play in my mind as, one of the most important concerts I'd given. So yeah, it took place at Alice Tully. My brother and I each played a piano concerto with orchestra. Um, yeah, it was just one of those times, and it led to many other opportunities for us.
Wow. So Lincoln Center was your first major
Hmm.
concert.
Yeah, first major
Wow.
concert.
Okay. All right. And so it leads to other opportunities. So what came next after that?
What came after that? Next after that, well, we had to build our brand. Lincoln Center, we played an all classical program, Tchaikovsky, Prokofiev, and so forth. But we realized who our audience was. Not everybody's able to relate to that stuff, and unless you study classical music, it's not something that's necessarily appealing to everybody. Although we had a really good crowd, and Lincoln Center stated that they have never seen a concert that attracted so many blacks before, and they would really like to. Yeah, so it's
Come
true.
on.
And they wanted more of that, but so we changed up our program a little bit to make it more diverse. We do some classical. We also included gospel songs, hymn arrangements, and so forth to make it more people friendly, if you will.
Yeah.
And that has enabled us to climb the ladder of success. Really, it created an easier path for us because of that.
I like that. And at this point of your career, you've accomplished so much. You've recorded an album. How many albums do you have recorded now?
Three, three
Yeah,
albums.
3 albums recorded now. I
Mhm.
remember the first one because I had the first one. And so you
Okay.
had a Christmas album after that, and one album is about to be released very soon. It was supposed to be released right before COVID.
No, it's not actually that wasn't an album. That's my book.
That's your
My
book.
book, my
Okay.
life story.
Okay.
Yeah, my book called More Than a Gift. I actually just finished writing the last chapter today. That was supposed to be released before COVID, but what happened after going through this ordeal, I feel like I had to write another chapter as my testimony to share my
Yes.
experience of what has transpired. So instead of the book was supposed to go to print like 2 weeks. Uh, I was 2 weeks after I'd gotten sick. The book was supposed to have gone to print for its release, but I had to write another chapter. I actually just finished this morning, so now we're gonna edit, and we're looking for a release around August.
Love it. We're ready for it. And when
All
that
right,
book
man.
comes out, we're going to bring you right back on this program because we want to
All
promote
right,
that. We
all
want to
right,
get the
bro.
word
Hey,
out
thank
and
you.
let everybody know what's going on. So we have the Altino Brothers. The Altino Brothers is the name of the albums that you're going to look for when you go online and you're looking to purchase, you're looking to support. You want to look for the Altino Brothers. You have Nerva, you have Robinson, Altino, and did you guys decide to become a duet when you do these concerts early on in life, or did that
No,
come after you graduated?
that came after we graduated. I mean, that was my mother's doing because when we graduated school, we wanted to go our separate ways. I wanted to be a pianist. My brother wanted to be a pianist, playing solos and playing with orchestra and so forth. But my mother said to me, "You guys being two black classical musicians, that is rare. Do it together, and that will increase the chances at succeeding." And that's what we did. We listened to mom.
Your mother had wisdom,
Yeah,
and
bro. She had with.
when what we're dealing with today in Black society, it's important what you're doing now for all Black
Mm-hmm.
men. It's
Mm-hmm.
important
Oh,
that they see another side of Black men. They see another culture that, hey, we're not just about hip hop. We're not
right.
just about R&B. We are a diverse kind of people.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
speak to that for a second.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's interesting. my friends used to make fun of me back in the day, calling me the gangster pianist because at, at school, honestly in high school especially, I ran the streets, got into a lot of fights, got suspended many times. I've been shot at numerous times.
Mm.
Uh, but no matter what was happening in my life outside, I would always go home and practice for 4 hours every night. And so that was something unusual. Now, don't get me wrong, I listened to everything. I loved hip hop. I loved reggae in particular, and I'm a '90s R&B guy. That's my
Right.
thing. I love
Me too.
Luther, Sade. That's me.
Yep.
So, but classical music was just something that my father passed on to me, and that's what I grew up studying. So, it was something that was natural for me to do, and I wanted to do it because I've heard so many times that blacks can't do this, blacks can't do that. So I pushed myself to do it so that I could be different. So many we have so many gifted artists who are doing everything else. So I just wanted to take a different route from everyone.
That's what's up. And again, it shows the diversity of a black man, that we're not just, you can't just put us in a box. We're
Hmm.
going to do classical and we're going to do it well. And
Absolutely.
and that's what's great to see. And you went to a small school in Massachusetts. What caused you to go to Atlantic Union College versus anywhere else?
I had no choice. I had no choice. I had no choice because I wanted to go to Manhattan School of Music or Juilliard. That's what
Okay.
I did for those schools. I didn't get in. At the time, I was not ready. I wasn't good enough, to be honest with you, at 17. And I applied to Hofstra University and some other colleges and so as well. I couldn't get in because my grades in high school were bad. Like I said, I in high school I was not focused on being a student. I focused on being the man. So I didn't go to class when I should have. So my grades were subpar. I flunked my entire freshman year in high school, but I was able to catch up to graduate with my class because of summer school and night school and so forth. And I worked really hard during my senior year. So by the time I graduated from Hillcrest High School, I was nearly an honor roll student, but it was too late then, because when these colleges are looking at your transcript, they don't care about what you did during your last year. So, having seen that, they were not interested in me. So I got denied by every college and conservatory that I'd applied to. Kessner Robertson came to my home church, Linden Church, during my senior year in high school, and he gave a concert. I was introduced to him, and someone asked me to play for him, and I did. And he said, he has a lot of potential. He'd asked me about if I'd heard about AUC. At the time, I hadn't heard of AUC, but he stayed on me. He stayed in touch with me and told me that he had a place for me at AUC. I'm like, well, thank you, Doc, but I don't want to go to AUC. And I visited the campus. Now, Phil, you from New York? Imagine leaving New York and going to South Lake Castle, Massachusetts.
That's right.
That was culture shock to me because I'd never been to a place like that before.
Yeah,
So
of
I'm
course.
like, there's no way, man. There's no way I'm coming to school here. But being that I had no other choice, every college that I'd applied to rejected me, and rightfully so. I didn't deserve to go to these colleges, but I was fortunate that Dr. Robertson gave me a chance. He offered me a scholarship to attend AUC. Even attending AUC my freshman year, I was on academic probation because how bad my grades were in high school. So after my first semester, I came off academic probation. I was able to pursue my college uh, life, without any challenges really. But that's how I ended up at AUC. Just I had no choice, but it's where God wanted me to be. It's where I needed to be.
That's right.
Because if I stayed in New York, I wouldn't be here right now. I would
Right.
not be here. But AUC was a place that God wanted me to be, and it's a place where I felt that I really needed to be to develop as not only a musician but as a human being. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and AUC helped shape me to be a better person, a better man, which I think contributed to my success.
I believe it. I believe it. It did the same for me, and I'm sure it did a lot for everybody else that came. You just
Yeah,
need it. Sometimes you need a place out of the crowd, out of the
yeah,
noise,
yeah,
a quiet
yeah.
place, and where you can just get your focus in, focus on who you are, focus on your life, and then
Hmm.
everything comes out. Well, we
Yeah, yeah.
appreciate you taking a few moments to share your testimony with us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're in great support of the Altino brothers. You and Robinson, we're just, again, our condolences for your loss as well.
Thank you.
We're praying you through this. We can't wait till you get back, though. And I'm sure many churches during the shutdown are like, hey, when is Nerva's going to play? When is Nerva going to play a video? uh so that we could broadcast it, you know what I mean? Like
All
like
right.
me,
All right.
like me.
We'll come up with
Like
something. It's gonna take a little while, but we'll come up with something.
yeah. We're ready for y'all to come back. We're ready for y'all to
All
come back.
right,
But you
brother.
take your time, man, and our prayers are with you. So check out the Altino brothers. There's 3 different albums out now. We are looking forward to your book. And
All right.
what's the name of the book?
More than a gift.
More Than a Gift. All right.
Hmm.
More Than a Gift. Nerva Altino, listen, he's a legend in my eyes. Every time there was a competition at Atlantic Union College, we let everybody else play because we knew they could play. I mean, we've got a doctor out of those, Dr. Glenn, you got your Curtis. We knew the guys that could play, but we were just waiting for Nerva to come up. All right. We were excited because we celebrated everybody who played, but we already knew what was going to happen when Nerva got on the piano. So we were like, okay, all right, here we go. And then at the end of the night, Nerva's holding the trophy. But we're so glad. We're so glad you're here to hold the trophy of life right now,
Yes,
to
sir.
hold the trophy of survival. And
Yes, sir.
you have come through a lot in your life, a lot of
Yeah.
hurdles,
Yeah.
some self-inflicted, some just because of the atmosphere. You have
Mhm.
overcome a lot, and that's inspiring to any person that's watching this program right now. So we praise God
Thank
for
you.
your ministry. We praise God for your ability.
Mhm.
Riverside Church was another feature that you had
Yeah.
every year. Do you
Yeah.
plan to continue that?
Yeah. I do. I
Okay,
do. But right now, it won't be anytime soon, though. With
right.
with the way the pandemic has
Absolutely.
shaped our daily lives, we don't know what's going to happen. How the concert venues are going to book people. So that's something we'll wait and see what happens. But
That's right.
one way or another, I intend to keep my ministry going. God willing.
We may need a pay-per-view concert. So I don't know. You
We'll
may
make
just
that
have to
happen.
go to a hall, nobody in there, and
All
we'll
right.
cash
All
app
right.
you so that we can see
Yeah.
it, so we can still
All right.
support you.
All
But
right, bro.
we may need to do that. And
All
I
right.
don't know.
Sounds good
McGuire
to me.
Entertainment Group might have to sponsor this one. So let's talk about that in the future.
All
But
right.
all the best, man, and
Thank
all
you.
that you're doing, and we definitely support you.
All right. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. Please give my love to your parents. All right.
Absolutely, for sure,
All right,
for
bro.
sure.
Thank you.
All
All
right,
right.
thank you everybody for watching. This is the Mega Voice podcast, the Mega Voice live podcast. This is McGuire Entertainment Group, a new sound in the air. God bless you, everybody.